At 7 Star to the Right would like to welcome you to our very special spooktacular October version of this show. As a special Halloween treat for you all, this episode will feature killer robots, magic, and bear men. Get it? Get it? Because we always have those things.
Yeah, we do. Also, this is coming out like middle of November.
No, that counts. It's Halloween.
those Halloween fixtures of bear men.
Well, like wolf men is a thing. I figured bear men could be a thing. Don't be racist.
We could figure it out. That's true. Justice for wolfmen, Jeff.
Justice for wolf.
That's really on you.
Yeah.
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 Prejudice.
I'm sorry. No. Wait, what happened?
We just started blaming you for stuff. You
Okay.
know.
All right. Cool. Yeah, it's about Halloween. It's not exactly Halloween, but we're having a party after this.
We are. I'm very excited. I'm wearing my Halloween shirt.
Yes. Please. Well, I can describe it.
Yeah,
I just
sure.
need you to describe it. It is pumpkins and black cats, but the black cats are the shape of the pumpkins as well. Kind of.
So
like they're very
round.
rotund. And you don't see any of their face. You just see their eyes.
They look like they've seen some shit.
Exactly.
Kirsten made it herself out of pumpkins and black cats.
It smells real bad.
And welcome back to the 7 Star to the Right. I guess you already gave us our little introduction.
I did,
Our very
yes.
Halloween spectacular. Well, I'll see if I can sneak anything spooky in this episode.
Yes.
If
you killed somebody, that would be spooky.
I'd
Ooh.
be pretty spooked.
You tried to kill that one guy that one time, but we wouldn't let you.
Oh, I'm definitely going to try and kill him again. His name's Red. He's got a family back home. He's only 2 days away from retirement. That number's going down.
As is Red.
So I know it was about a month ago because we had some events happen in the interim. But what do you guys remember from last time?
It was the info dump episode. We have
Oh,
so
there
many
was-
information.
Any idea
There
how
was
little
a
that
lot
narrows
of
it down?
information, and I
There's
hope you wrote
so
it down
much
because
information.
otherwise it's lost to the ether, as in the recording, which you might have to listen to.
Nah,
So,
I'm not doing that.
So
That's cheating.
Neo Iridium.
Yeah.
Neoiridium.
Here's the
Our
thing.
favorite guy.
He's the one, Jeff.
All right.
He's,
Okay.
he's the irradiated one.
Dr. Smith Calvin would glow shit as she was making the core for her robot. So she was doing some metadimensional whatnot.
Yeah, the metadimensional whatnot.
There sure is that Torque called Drict that lives in Deimos.
Sure is.
who used to be
Demos.
Demos, pardon, who used to be friends with her. She's definitely trying to bring her husband back as a robot. Princess Renala of Orsimian royalty was a distant cousin of hers.
There you go.
And anything else that was relevant to Nona, I didn't write down.
Oh, you got some pretty big swaths. Do you have anything additional, Kirsten?
I
have some
mean,
more
the
things in my
Neo
notes.
Iridium is the stuff that was inside the cylinders and used to make it. We know that the cylinders that appear to be controlling all of the Phistos wasteland creatures that have been attacking Nova Voxis. The capsules are different sizes, and as far as we can tell, there's not really any need for that, I think was part of it.
Yeah, they don't need to be as big as
Yeah,
they
sometimes they are. When they were in the worms. We found out that Wickliffe is on top of caves, and potentially we could sneak into those caves.
There's a guy named Brian in Cass City
Yeah.
that we have some unfinished business with.
There's a guy named Brian
Here.
in Nova Voxis
Who's
who
Who's not
controls
our
the
Brian.
airpad.
he was just a pretender.
He's not your Brian.
not
He's
our Brian.
he's a Brian, but he's not the
The
Brian. All right, so I've got some other things. Nona wants to do mind control.
That's right.
It was
yes.
just written down in my notes, which is underlined a couple of times.
Don't be afraid, Jeff. Just let me have it.
Terrifies
Let me be unto a god.
I have introduced this technology into the world, and
is
I
your fault.
immediately regret it. I'm regretting this more than I regretted giving you guys a literal nuke.
We didn't want the
You
original.
didn't want the
nuke.
nuke,
We wanted mind control, Jeff.
which I think is more terrifying. Barry and Arcus had a fight. They didn't go really into it as to why. No one really asked them. One other thing that wasn't mentioned is Drift and Calvin had a falling out of some kind.
Right.
Let's see, what else do I have? There was a special device that Dr. Samantha Calvin was specifically using when she was performing this type of creation of true AI. So theoretically, if you wanted to create a true AI, not saying you do, but just
I do not.
for the people
at
writing
home.
notes back home, there's a special device that seems to be powered by some telekinetic powers. That might be about it that I wrote down as well. One other thing was that I believe Claire came up to you, Nona, after this, and said that one, that Dr. Lucius Leggett he's pretty above board on things. He's not seeming to hide anything, but there's a suspicion meter that she sees, and it is
No, it's fine.
ticking up.
Nope, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
And so you guys got back. I can't remember if there was anything else much that happened, but this was the same night that Micah's and Volker's little
They had a date. It went great.
Rendezvous.
the roll to bang.
It did.
It
You
went
rolled
great,
a 3,
buddy.
It did
and I
not
told you
go
after the
great.
fact that I put it down as low as I possibly could to
And
a 4.
I
and
didn't want that knowledge.
Cursed
you didn't, but I
knowledge,
gave
really.
you that knowledge anyway. Just so you know how close you were.
Just got too flustered, got too hammered. It happens to the
Same.
best of us.
Constantly.
So you woke up. I can't remember what exactly happened at the end of last session because I didn't write it down, and it was about a month ago at this point. I think Alex is making you live with your decisions this
That
time
is
around.
right.
I was suffering.
We
through
we also ended with everybody showing up at the door.
That is correct, and I was
Okay.
about to get right back into that.
Cool.
You see Aleta, Dr. Lucius Leggett, Red, and Volker. They're all there. All your friends. Or the people that you know at Nova Voxis is probably the better way to describe them. And Aleta
Acquaintances, really.
started a conversation by saying, "I've got a proposition for you." And it's got a lot of zeros at the end of it.
And then we clarified that there was, in fact,
There was,
numbers
in fact,
front of the
numbers
zeros,
in front of the
because Nona's
zeros.
fallen for that one before.
Look at all these zeros. I could do so much with these zeros.
I could juggle them.
And yeah, we can, unless there's anything else people remember or have questions about, since this was about a month ago. All right, we're hopping right in. So yeah, Aleta knocks on the door. I think everyone answered it except Barry and Arcus are probably still hanging out upstairs, trying to not be seen by people.
Yeah, we specifically hid them.
Yep. And so she says, can we talk somewhere where there's like private in your place, or we can go somewhere private in my place in this entire thing? Part of this proposition, I would like to divulge some very sensitive information that I prefer not to be heard by prying ears.
Okay.
We have the kitchen.
Yeah, we do have a kitchen. It's been about 2 weeks since I last checked for bugs, so pretty sure there's none on there. But so I don't know how that matches up with your security standards.
Well, that seems like a pretty recent sweep, so I think I'm okay with that.
They have low security standards. Their security standards are
we'll
lower than mine.
remember
Lead the way, please.
We go to the kitchen.
Climb up the fire pole.
Yes, we make it's an initiation. New guests have to climb the fire pole.
You have to catch us first.
Shimmy, shimmy, shimmy.
Can I get a charisma notice check from people?
No.
Yep.
Which
no,
people?
you cannot.
Everyone.
I'm
Everyone?
people.
Everyone. Is that what you wanted, Philip?
Sure. I don't know what that was.
That's the meme.
Oh.
3. I got a 3.
It's the guy with all
Yeah.
the different faces. He's Sirius Black and Dr.
Okay, we're
Gordon.
getting down a hole here.
No. It's a meme, and it's very important. I need to get who's that actor?
Gary
Oldman. Thank you. All right.
Okay. Glad we got that sorted. Jeff,
Yeah.
we haven't been playing this game for very long, so I'd like you to remind me: is a skill check 2d6 or a d20?
2d6.
I'm
2d6.
I'm disappointed
It's
in you
2d6.
right
But
now.
for me,
Just roll 2d6.
Okay, I
rolled
got a 4.
3d6 notice.
For notice checks. Yeah.
I dropped the lowest. I have 11.
11?
I got a 3.
4.
All right. Alex, you this is another job, but as you look over everyone that's walking in, Red and Volker seem, the same Red and Volker as you guys went with on that water run. Aleta is the same old Aleta.
Not clones.
Dr. Lucius Leggett is beside himself right now.
There's 2 of them.
He has a clone.
Clones!
He
Spooky.
is, I wouldn't say wigging out, but he has a very nervous energy about him, and he is consistently looking over at Nona, and he's just generally nervous right now. And you've gotten the energy that he gave off before was never nervous energy. It was just, I have a lot of information that I love to share with people. But right now he's about as quiet as he has ever been in your presence.
Right. Alex has 2 immediate thoughts. The first is, oh man, I thought Nona waking me up and saying that she has to bring hands to Dr. Leggett was a dream. It might not have been. The second is, does Dr. Leggett have a gun on him?
You can't see one immediately.
He didn't last time, and we were going to give him one, and then he did
Yeah.
not get gun privileges. So I think it is a good guess that he probably does not.
Yeah. Okay,
All right,
that's
so
it.
you guys get up. Barry and Arcus are here. Are you guys
No.
phoning ahead?
We had them specifically
Oh, like hide in their room?
Yeah,
They're
go
going
to
up
your
to the
room.
room.
Oh,
We
okay.
said
I
as soon
forgot-
as we
I forgot
said,
about
because
that.
remember we get the camera.
Okay.
So we saw it was
all right.
people were like, you guys go chill out in your room. There are people coming.
We know if they're going to be making out in the kitchen. Like, I've asked them specifically not to.
Don't do that. Keep that in the bedroom. So you guys get to the kitchen, and Aleta says, "Lucius, can you do a quick sweep?" And he takes out a quick device,
Alex goes for his gun.
and just starts. It seems to be some kind of electric sort of seeking device, seeing like any electromagnetic fields and stuff like that, trying to detect anything. And he
Is the
says,
dog in the room?
It is.
He's making
Dr.
breakfast.
Lucius Leggett goes past the dog, and it goes a whoop. He looks at it and kind of hits it again and starts going by. Because he wasn't checking the dog. He was
Sure.
checking everything else. He's like, nah,
I'm going to be not scanned by that if I can manage it.
And Lucius says, I believe we're safe here.
Can
It's-
I offer anybody a drink?
We have tea now.
And Aleta speaks up at that. Coffee? Do you have coffee?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. I would like some coffee.
Great. Let me brew you a pot.
Red would get in on the coffee as well. Volker is fine, and Dr. Lucius Leggett is just.
We are not caffeinating this man.
No,
if he asks for
he-
coffee, we're giving him
He
decaf.
already seems jittery enough as it is.
Alex also does not have decaf on this ship.
Fair enough. You get enough sleepy time tea.
So Aleta takes a place at the table in the middle of this room and says, I'm sure you're aware of the situation, at least vaguely, in Wickliffe and what the Firefangs are doing around there. I believe Red and Volker have talked to you a little bit about it, maybe not why or exactly any of the inner workings, but the fact that it's happening, you are aware of that, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
To start off, I would like to, before I divulge any of the sensitive information, I know you guys have been pretty, on the up and up when it comes to not sharing Novavox's secrets, and I want to once again say how sensitive this information is, and whether or not you take this deal, this information should not leave this room. Is that understood?
Yes.
Sure.
All right. Could you sign this
We
non-disclosure?
already did.
No, this is
We
a
have to
separate
sign
one.
a separate one.
Can I have like 10 minutes?
They give you some time to read it over.
Alex can read it over.
No, we'll read it over. You don't sign things without reading them. Very important.
Wickliffe, there's something wrong there. Everhaven, Novavoxus, and Sonobutan have all independently came to this realization. And we've started a conversation and a order of events. Everhaven being on the opposite side of the lake from Wickliffe, they tend to be a little bit friendlier, like we are with Sonobutan, since we're on the opposite lake of each other. Tend to, fight a little bit less with our non-direct neighbors. There's a bit of a north, south, east, west separate alliances. Everhaven, being Wickliffe's allies, met with Wickliffe, specifically Wilhelm Restikov, multiple times a month, generally. A couple months back, Wilhelm decided that they were no longer talking on video calls together. They were no longer meeting in person. They would only take calls. During these calls, Wilhelm sounded different, is the best way I can describe it. Didn't sound well. And eventually, all communication between Everhaven and Wickliffe stopped. Around the same time as that all stopped, Novavoxus, we are a collective of people. We're actually one of the only factories, cities here that consistently gets migrants from the other cities. We're the only, and I'm proud of this fact, we're the only company that actually shares its own wealth with its people. Everyone who works in Novavoxus gets a portion of the company and has a vested interest there. And so we have had an influx of people coming from Everhaven, Sonobutan, and Wickliffe as well. There's sometimes conversations that happen between these different cities, but not often. And it's difficult to get into contact with family members from the other cities, but it's possible. Sometime in the past couple of months, around the same time when Everhaven stopped hearing from Wickliffe altogether, members of Novavoxus who had family in Wickliffe were unable to get a hold of them. Completely silent. And the last thing is Sonobutan, very able when it comes to corporate espionage, had a couple of plants in Wickliffe. I'd like to play a recording for you regarding one of these conversations, and this was the last recording that they received. And so she pulls out a little device that's got a little play button on it. As I scroll to my notes.
A Walkman.
A Walkman.
If you will.
It's like, you're going to have to, I'll turn it up really loud and face the ear, like the headphones
God.
out,
You guys
so maybe you can hear it.
Flashbacks.
Or maybe we can just,
Nona's
you can put the
got
headphones
cables.
on
You
one at a
know
time.
Nona's got
You got a
cables.
splitter?
100%.
splitter?
Splitter. I got speakers. I got everything.
Nice.
It's like that scene from Lilo and Stitch.
Yes, you just.
You're right.
I didn't mean Nona herself. I meant in a drawer somewhere.
Ain't nothing but a house.
And so she places this device on the table and presses the play button. Immediately when the recording starts, you can tell that there's some kind of interference between the spy station in Sonobutan and whoever was communicating from Wickliffe. As this static hiss comes and goes over top of the recording, it makes some of the parts of this conversation hard to make out. And the recording appears to happen in the middle of a conversation that's already started. The hushed tone of a young man can sometimes be heard through the static.
Restikovs gave workers a holiday for the recent good work. Surprise them soon.
A clearer, deeper voice appears to be the handler speaks next.
I wasn't aware that the Restikovs gave days off. The thing, they don't. Something Right. Blue Jay, there appears to be a lot of static on your side. Could you repeat that? Nest, you there? Things are off. Blue Jay.
There's a silence between the two people in the recording as you hear Blue Jay rummaging with like some papers and something on a table, possibly to fix the connection. Through this rummaging, you can hear a faint rhythmic sound that starts to grow louder and louder. Until suddenly there's a yelp and objects falling onto the floor.
Blue Jay, are you there?
You hear the whir of a drill going through something wet. After a few agonizing moments of silence, the sound of something getting up is captured on the recording. Soft footsteps grow louder as they approach the recording device, and then a click. That's where the recording ends.
Happy Halloween.
Gave you something spooky.
Zombies! We get zombies!
And at that, Aleta says, we haven't seen or heard of anyone out of Wickliffe in several months now. Everhaven, Sonobutan, Novavaxis have put together for the first time in our history a joint operation. It's not Novavaxis that's just funding this. Everhaven and Sonobutan are also helping fund the Fire Fangs and what they're about to do. Now you see, the Fire Fangs, they're good at what they do. They're solid. But I'm realizing now that they are a blunt object when we need a scalpel. Nona, I believe you're already aware of this because Dr. Lucius Leggett, and she looks over at him and he does like an awkward, like nervous wave at that. He mentioned that we may have found a way into Wickliffe that doesn't require going through the front door. I'm not entirely sure how much Micah, Claire, or Alex you've heard about this, but there is some kind of cave system mapped years and years and years ago that appears to be underneath Wickliffe. And given the amount that Wickliffe has recently been mining and producing, we have estimated that if they've not broken through that cave system, they're very nearly there. One of the things that you saw when, Nona, you helped me out and helped out Novavaxis as a whole with that giant piston up in the northern quadrant is this entire structure has some kind of nervous system. There are endpoints that control very localized areas, but then there are junctions that control multiple of these endpoints. And then there's junctions of junctions. So until you basically get to the root of everything. The root is what Dr. Lucius Leggett has showed you when you first got here. The heart of Novavaxis does appear to be that chamber that held at one point a true AI core. Novavaxis, Wickliffe, Everhaven, Sonobutan, any schematics that we've gotten of all these places, they've been exact replicas of one another. Now, there might be some damage here and there, maybe a collapsed hallway, but effectively, they are the same. So it's our understanding that Wickliffe would have its heart in the same location at the base of the structure. What I would ask you guys to do, and you would be compensated very well for, is to infiltrate that. And Nona, since you are familiar, at the very least, with how to control these things, open the doors for the Fire Fangs to get in. And then cause what other chaos you can. That's the proposition that I have right now. For that, I would reward each one of you 10,000 credits each, for a total of 40,000 credits.
I have a question.
Yes?
Are you good people?
She's taken a little bit aback by that. And she says, I think goodness is relative. I think I'm good to my own people. I'd like to consider you my own people. I believe myself to be fair and just when I can. But there are times when my desires do not align with those others. And there are times when I've had to make difficult decisions that hurt people outside of my own sphere. So I will not claim to be a space Mother Teresa, who apparently is also not a really good person
Yeah,
herself
maybe.
as
Who is
well.
not on Earth, Mother Teresa. Yeah, it's complicated.
But I try and do right by my people. And that's the best I can do.
I would ask how much of your motivation to invade Wickliffe is based on these recorded events as opposed to the fact that they are currently outperforming you.
She takes a moment to consider this. Red and Volker are a little surprised by the question and kind of look to her for response. And she says, I understand where you're getting at, but there is something off happening in Wickliffe. I know I will, Everhaven, Sona Bhutan as well, will benefit from Wickliffe no longer being underneath the reign of the Restikovs, if it even still is. It's an opportunity for us. I will not deny that. But you heard that recording. I have family members here, not my own family members, but I have people here that have family members in Wickliffe that can't get a hold of them.
They have or they had?
That's a fair question. I think whatever's happening there, there's still a lot we don't know about these structures that we're currently inhabiting. We've lived in them for hundreds of years, and we're still finding nooks and crannies we didn't even know were there. I don't know what lives in these structures. Maybe something was dormant and now it is woken up. Or maybe Wilhelm and the rest of the Restikovs have done something, but it's different. And we've even tried to reach out to mercenaries that have worked with Wilhelm in the past or with Wickliffe as a whole. No one is talking to them. It is silent. The cargo that they send out is with virtual intelligence ships, and they do everything via terminals and banks. No one has seen Restikov face to face in months, and no one has heard or seen a living person into Wickliffe in that same amount of time. Those are all not good signs, and I don't want that to happen to me, and I don't want it to happen to Novavoxus.
Right. Okay. So I do want to say, Aleta, you are asking us to go into a situation totally blind. This is not a suicide mission, but only because we are not sure how many guns will be instantly trained on us. It could be 0 or it could be all of them, every single one. Which is something that I personally am not overly fond of. That being said, I am just one in a member of just a couple of, a member of a group. So if we do decide to do this mission, the only caveats that I would definitely ask for is the ability to call off the mission solely on us. No checking in aside from saying, hey, we need extraction. That seems highly important.
I understand completely your concerns here. Part of the compensation is meant to hopefully, at the very least, reward for that risk that you are taking. Additionally, Volker, as she turns around to look at them, mentioned that it might be a good idea to let the Firefangs know what this plan is. I know that there was an altercation. I don't want to know. I really don't want to know what happened. All I want to say is I believe the Firefangs were more at fault than anyone here. I would like to clear out that air. But Volker mentioned that there's possibly things that the Firefangs could do to draw attention away from this particular plan. It is not my intention to send you into a trap.
Yeah, but if it ends up being one, can we be like, okay, peace?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
great. Like, perfect. That's
We
what I
still
was
have
getting
the
at.
very blunt object that is the Firefangs. We're trying to keep as much of Wickliffe. Wickliffe's not useful for us if it is completely destroyed. We want to subjugate it. We don't want to destroy it. But we do need to depose the Restikovs or whatever is going on there. And so if we can't do it with a scalpel, blunt object it is.
You said the other factories are in on this too? Are they just like contributing money to your scalpel plan, or if they've got their own people going in?
We're trying to keep their involvement on the down low. Yusuf of Everhaven has provided some personnel. Additionally, they're both providing more compensation than Novavoxis is due to the fact that Novavoxis is the face of this operation. Wickliffe and Novavoxis have had a checkered past, to say the least. It is probably the most checkered past of any of the relationships between the four factories. So we felt it made the most sense for Novavoxis to be the face of this operation. So there was less blowback on Everhaven, who is supposed to be Wickliffe's allies and Sonobutan as well.
Given your relationship with Sonobutan, are you aware of any increased attacks by wildlife in their area as well?
That's something that we've looked into recently. I don't want to speculate because there's more pre-tech technology out there than I could even understand. But it's very clear that these devices that we've been finding in wildlife have been some form of mind control, as Dr. Lucius Leggett has told me. Or at the very least, mind suggestion. It's not unreasonable to think that something similar may have happened with people in Wickliffe, which is, to say the least, you heard the recording itself. There was one person in that room, very clearly wanted something to get something out. There was a altercation, and then there was still one individual in that room that shut off the recording or the call. I don't know what's in Wickliffe, but I don't want whatever's happening in there to happen to Novavoxis, and I don't want it to happen to Sonobutan. Everhaven, to some extent.
We're okay with that. They're
I'm not necessarily saying that I want Everhaven to have some problems, but we are on better terms with Sonobutan than we are with Everhaven. But it is a unique situation where Everhaven has assisted either Novavoxis or Sonobutan. This is probably the first joint effort by 3 separate cities that is in our records.
Well, I think at the end of the day, I'm on board for it. Aleta, I appreciate, I think, where you're coming from. You want to protect your people, be proactive. I get that. Whatever's going on over there, it sounds, cool might be the wrong word, but there's some interesting things.
No one thinks it's cool.
Is no one else curious? No, you're curious.
Can we discuss for a moment?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, before we go private, do you have a way for us to get to the cave system undetected? I assume that's like step 1 of things to have figured out.
That is the intention. We were going to discuss a full plan with the Firefangs as well, but the current idea is for the Firefangs to begin a light bombardment of Wickliffe to draw the attention, and
Just a
then
little one.
just a little bit of bombarding, and approach from a distance using a small ship.
And then we, the hobbits, sneak in the back door, right? Send a large army. We put it outside the gates.
Hobbits.
And then,
Oh, space hobbits.
yes.
You know,
Yes.
Space
I've heard
hobbits.
of
one could argue that.
From Commandor of the Wings. Space rings. Of Saturn's rings. Great. And I assume, do we meet with the Firefangs to brief before the mission, or are you just kind of...
I was intending for all of us to go together to have this discussion. I believe it's important for me to be there as a moderator to keep Pycleides in line.
I think...
it.
No.
I should probably apologize for shooting him.
He did ask for it.
He did ask for
Again, I don't want to know. I don't care. I don't want it to happen again.
Yeah, right.
And I need you both to be on the same side on this mission here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it now.
Understood.
Right.
Understood.
Yeah.
I might be flexible when it comes to the rewards, but that is very close to the maximum amount of funds that I could probably provide for this mission already. But if there are certain other things that I can provide that would help this conversation,
We need
whether
more guns.
whether it's more equipment, more guns, more personnel,
I want one of the.
We can
I want
provide
one
that.
of the
only
tech suits.
thing I'd like to do maybe is... It might be honestly better to go through the Firefangs. They might be better supplied, but my med kit is running kind of low. So I'd like to maybe see what the Firefangs already have in the field, just to reload or something, restock. I can offer trade or whatever.
absolutely. We can certainly see if we can make something like that happen.
Great.
Nice.
Okay. You, I'm not sure if you have my number, but if you don't, here it is.
Everybody exchanges phone numbers. We do the joke about how.
You have 6.
There we go. There it is.
I didn't know you got 5.
Yeah, no. Oh, that makes it's like, is this like a family phone that you like pass down?
Oh yeah, this
That's
is
very old.
This is an old one. Yeah.
I wonder who had 5.
Anyway, please, if we could get this ball rolling sooner rather than later. I understand this is a big decision on you guys, so I'll give you guys a couple of hours to discuss it. But around noon is when the group here is going to head out to the encampment to discuss final plans.
Great. We'll get to you by then.
Yeah, we'll be in touch.
All right.
Quick huddle.
Call you later, number neighbor.
Yes.
Looking forward to it, number 5.
comrade,
I know what you-
number neighbor.
I know one.
With your communist ass city.
And at that, Aleta gets up. Red and Volker go out behind her.
Oh, that's why his
Dr.
name is Red.
Dr. Lucius Leggett, he lingers for a little bit, as if he wants to say something, and then just turns and walks with the rest of them.
Once the doors close.
Yep.
Yes.
No, yeah. You watch the console and they leave the entire thing. You can do a whole scan and everything again if you wanted.
No,
Sweep for bugs.
What did you do to that man?
He is not 100% sure, but he's pretty sure about what Nona is.
We'll have to kill him.
Fair.
Apparently I was doing some, reading.
Good.
A little light
Good.
reading.
Some light reading, of the thoughts of people.
You can just stop at light reading next time. That's
Yeah, we
you'll
got
understand what you mean.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I think him and Aleta talked about what you did with the giant piston in the console. That might be the straw that gives him the eureka moment. That might be his golden crown,
Just keep throwing out.
A lot of
throwing out the.
metaphors here.
You're pulling out metaphors.
Nona is absolutely confused. She's like, "There's a straw now."
This is his straw that might drop him into the bath. That
Where
will
the crown
break the sword
is.
of Damocles hanging over Nona's head.
This is too much for 9 a.m. I hate everyone right now.
Oh yes, you were still very hungover.
Oh, coffee's done if you want.
You know what? Fuck it. Yes.
Well,
All right. Here you go. Here, you can take a lettuce pot and I'll drink
I have
mine.
tea every other morning, Nona. And thank you, but
downed
not.
her
No.
entire coffee. Aleta's coffee's gone.
Okay.
It is bone dry.
Great. So, Claire, don't suppose you peeked into Aleta's and have any idea whether she has any idea?
She's pretty forthright. But with
Nona,
like Nona,
mostly.
I think it seemed like there was just a conversation that they had. I think Aleta's excited about Nona's ability, or at least knowledge that she thinks that Nona has. One of the reasons why I think she wants all of us is to get Nona to do this. But I don't think she has like an inkling as to why. It's just that's useful.
Okay. That's great to know. Thank you. So we just killed Dr. Leggett.
Kill my very nice scientist man.
He knows too much.
He does. He knows too much.
You gotta stop having people figure stuff
Too
out.
close to the sun.
He's now Tony. He's a Tony now.
So, okay, great.
I personally would like to do this for two reasons. One, because it is my current strong-held belief that Wickliffe may contain a true AI, and I would very much like to meet them if that is true. The second thing is that I would like part of my pay to be in the form of the raw materials from Nova Voxus that we can send to the Paragon freelancers for Quinn.
So, yeah, no, absolutely agree on my end.
And that way we would not have to share any more information about Quinn or that situation. We could just make it a stipulation as part of the contract.
It's true. That's a good idea.
Okay, I have something to say, but it will change the topic. Claire, do you have anything to say about this topic?
This is like the most military-based thing that we've done, like an actual, kind of search and destroy kind of deal. I guess not necessarily destroy, but search and do a thing. We've done protecting, but that's so we can keep an eye out. But as you said, we're going in a little blind.
Yeah,
We'll need to make sure we prepare for most contingencies.
Definitely. I personally don't think it's so different from what we did on Glasgow 5. Just, definitely a little bit more blind, but go in,
I wasn't
open a
part of
thing.
that. I was having a moment.
It's true.
Yeah, oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's
okay.
not, I didn't mean it like that or anything.
No, it's all right. Yeah. I'm helping now. I'm contributing.
Yeah, you've killed more things than I have.
Claire looks off into the distance.
Which is very helpful in the firefight,
Yeah, I try.
Don't let the weights of those lives drag you down, Claire.
I don't think
You haven't killed anything sentient.
I don't think she's killed a sentient thing yet.
Sapient. Great. Now
Definitely
that we
not
know,
a sapient thing.
No. Okay. So, I guess I'm fine with this because I don't know. Like I reserve the right to hit the panic button as soon as it's like there's no fucking way. And then I'll focus all of my energy on extraction and get us the fuck out of there.
Panic button is good.
The only other thing is what happens if we get there and there is a true AI core. Right?
Yes. I would very much like not to destroy it.
Yes. Yeah. That's assumed. But how do we not destroy it but still let the fire flames in? Because if we don't, well, that's, then we end up playing tower defense for the rest of our lives.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, if there is a true AI in there, like, wouldn't that mean it's like doing those things to those people that Aleta alluded to?
Yes.
Yeah, it might not be a nice one, a Quinn, but
Your morality systems are very confusing. I'm sure if we explained it.
we're not going into that right now. But crap. I lost my train of thought. More coffee. Right. But if there is a true AI that's still alive in there, the Firefangs definitely are going to just like blow everything up. And I think that's what Aleta wants, like not to blow up the whole factory, but whatever's in charge. So that is something we should decide before we get there in case that's true.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they would blow it up because it runs a tighter shift than any other thing on this planet could. But, if they can, they will control it somehow. So then our options are not, we don't destroy it. We do nothing and let the Firefangs in and, whatever fallout comes from that, whatever happens. We move it out of the core somehow. I don't know if we have the technology to do that, but that's just kind of like a possible branching path. And then we have a AI in some other body, which may or may not be able to mind control people. So, there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, even hypothetically, if this true AI was there, we don't know what it would look like. We've kind of seen some different steps along the true AI timeline. So it might not be big like Quinn. If we wanted to remove it, it might be smaller. We have no idea.
That's
I
correct.
will say it
seemed pretty convinced that all of the original ones had been.
So yes, you Dr. Lucius Leggett's pretty convinced that all true AI cores in each of the separate factories have been destroyed. I will mention that. That does not necessarily mean
he's right.
He is right about that.
But I did ask specifically about that, and he's like, I'm pretty convinced that.
And you have also seen a shattered one that was in Nova Voxus.
Yes.
Right.
It was around the same size as Quinn's core.
Correct.
Okay, I forgot that. Okay.
Which is, to say the least, quite big.
Mm-hmm.
It would not be something that you could pick up and put in your bag.
Yes.
Assuming it's there. And also assuming it's alive. They're alive? They're alive.
We're actually okay with it.
Mm-hmm. So what's the plan, guys?
So
lacking certainty on any of this stuff, maybe if we run into that situation, Nona, just you talk to it and we see what happens.
yes, I feel more strongly about preventing Nova Voxus troops from destroying it before I have the chance.
So you'd like to go sooner rather than later.
I would like to make that a condition of our employment.
Do you think Aleta would go for that?
I'm not certain.
Would you say it outright? Like, if there's a true AI core, don't break it? What? How do you phrase that?
I do not know. This is part of...
They won't break it. And if they were, they'd be very stupid. Pycleides might break it if he gets there first before everybody else. But if he did, he'd be, again, very stupid.
I think it's more likely Aleta would, for lack of a better word, use them than destroy them.
I think that's the right word, yeah.
Yeah.
It is possible we could create a symbiotic relationship similar to what the Paragon freelancers are doing with Quinn. But I gather that people are upset about the idea of the population of Wickliffe being mind controlled.
Yes.
Yes, they seem upset.
It's, it'd be kind of like making Quinn do something that she didn't want to do. That's kind of the same thing, but for humans. Rod and the brain thing.
It's like hacking.
Yeah, it's a literal reprogramming of, base logic.
But if they are happy.
But again, reprogramming just kind of against their will, direct push to master. No, like...
Oh, you don't want to do that. I'm just going to push to production and then log off for the weekend.
Jeff, your QA is showing.
I hate it. Anyway, please go on.
Yes.
So,
I believe if we are going to do this, one other thing that I should most likely do is explore Nova Voxis and figure out the systems within it rather thoroughly in preparation for going to the carbon copy version. Obviously, the problem here being if people see me.
Hopefully they can give us a map, right?
They wanted an answer
I'm-
by noon. How many hours?
It's yeah. That she was basically saying like early morning. It seems like things are imminently happening.
So we have like 2 or 3 hours.
That's kind of the
I'm
idea.
not speaking of exploring physically.
I'm sure Aleta like would give you that information or as much as possible.
Yeah, no, I'm Nona's on board.
Okay.
Nona has been wanting to do this for a while. All of that stuff.
Okay. So we say yes. What can we do in the meantime as we drag out our yes? Do you want to maybe find the computer, Nona?
I
and
think
do
I
your
would
thing?
like explicit permission to do this first as part of the.
Okay.
All right.
Should we tell Arcus that we're gonna have a meeting with the Fire Fangs?
Yes. That's a great idea.
Sure.
Arcus!
Come out of your room now.
You can come out.
Arcus, we're gonna go see the Firefangs. Bye.
Wait,
We
no,
shout
come
as
back.
they out the door.
And you clue him in, and I'm not gonna go through the whole
Song
arcane
and
there.
dance.
Yeah, you're telling him how he's going. He's very clearly excited. Barry is.
Oh my god.
Barry seems less excited. Barry actually seems a little nervous.
Fair.
But,
Are we
yeah.
another thing we should definitely iron out strategic wise? Are they coming with us?
No.
Okay.
No, well-
Not to see the Fire Fangs. I was saying my understanding was we meet with the Fire Fangs, we talk stuff over, we get onto our tiny ship, and we go to Wickliffe. If we left the bears on the ship, they could come with us into Wickliffe if that was a thing that was desired. It's a larger party, but also more dangerous, yada, yada, yada. But this could be a good way for them to pay us back for all of the great work we've been doing for them.
I think I don't know. I feel like it'll be tough to sneak them into the cave, so I don't know if they'll be able to help us with the mission. I think what might be nice is to have them kind of on standby to see if what's her name? Mari, to see if
Sure.
Mari can sneak away before the fighting and meet up with them.
Okay.
And if not, then they can kind of like run in and do whatever.
I'm on board for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I think that it sounds like we would be also splitting the reward additional ways with them if they like came and did the job with us, unless they were just coming.
Potentially, but they do owe us.
Unless they
money.
were just coming for free on a maybe suicide mission.
I mean, I think Arcus has explicitly said, "I'll do work for you guys. I need
Yeah,
to pay
that's
you
what I
back
was-
for this arm thing. I'll do work for free," kind of deal
True.
to like even the scales. Barry, maybe less so. You might need to pay him
Yeah.
because he already gave you like a whole
A
ass ship.
which we are never getting back. I'm just going to call out right now. We are never getting
You're
that
leaving
back.
it covered
It's
in
sank
brushes.
into the swamp. Someone stole it by now.
You just
It's
gotta get
gone.
Luke Skywalker to pull it out of the swamps of Dagobah.
That's fair, but
He also forgot
couldn't
about
do
that
that.
ship. He never went back. He never got that ship out.
No, Yoda did.
Did he not? I thought
Oh,
Yoda
Yoda-
got it
Yoda-
out for him.
Oh, Yoda
And
got
he
it
left
out.
it there.
He used it to leave.
Anyway,
All right. I think let's take them to around the Fire Fang zone.
okay. So next steps right now. What's happening before you guys leave? Obviously, you are in at the agreed upon price.
Mhm.
Nona, is there more information that you want to
Yes,
gather?
I specifically the two things as I laid them out in this conversation. I'm happy to have this conversation with Aleta again, or we can kind of skip over it. I want half of my pay to be in raw materials sent to a location of my choice, or not raw materials. What do they process? What's the thing that Quinn wants?
Neoridium.
Is it
Well, so
neoridium?
neoridium is what is like the ore that is used in a lot of the manufacturing here.
Yes. What is the thing that Quinn wanted specifically?
better materials to make robots with. Neo-iridium is used in robotics, specifically pre-tech robotics, so it would make sense.
So yes, under the assumption,
Crazy
I want
how
some
that just
of
sort
your
of works out.
Yes, and this is what I'm saying. I'm trying to connect these two
Yeah,
things.
no, I got
you
you, I
sound
got
very
you.
confused.
Yes.
I would like to
this makes sense.
solve this Quinn
So,
side mission, please.
Is this
So we're sending
a
Quinn
consistent
food.
thing that you're trying to set up? Like, I would like you to sell to this person, or I would like a chunk of this sent to
I would
this-
like a chunk of this sent, and then assuming that they are happy with that, I would like potentially set up you can sell over here.
Okay. We
Just
might
a little pop-up.
Yeah, there's other more important things. This
Yeah.
might be a fun one to RP, but I think she would be completely fine with selling to another person. Maybe at like a slightly reduced rate, like a friends and family rate kind
Sure.
of deal. So like, yeah, I think that's something that we can work out. It
Yeah.
also means less money out of her pocket right now.
That was kind of my thought as well.
Yeah, so that means you are having, rather than 40,000 credits, it'll be 35,000 credits.
Sure.
Yes. All right, cool.
Mhm.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes. I also, frick. Okay, Kirsten the player really, really, really wants to go have a conversation with Dr. Lucius Leggett, but I don't think Nona would.
I think if you are out and about, it's very possible that he would try and find
Okay,
you.
so then while I'm in my conversation with Aleta, I wish to get permission from her to look around Novavoxis, interact with Novavoxis' systems, that sort of thing,
Mhm.
to get a sense of this thing you've asked me to do is go in and do this. Can I learn the system?
You know, and it turns out she would probably direct a lot of some of those questions to Dr. Lucius Leggett.
Sure.
So he is in his study. You would study his lab.
Uh-huh.
You would come to him and you like knock on the door. He's
Sure.
doing all the things and says, "Oh, no. Good morning. How are you today?"
Hi, I'm good.
Yeah. Right. Aleta did you give me the information that you Right, let me get that for you. And he starts rummaging through papers. One thing that you notice is on his workbench is a device that you haven't seen before. It looks like a pair of goggles almost, but a quick glance definitely shows that this is very sophisticated. Almost like night vision goggles, like those kind of goggles that you put over top and of your eyes, and it's just like these big bulky things. And he sees you looking at it as he hands you the papers and says, those are meta goggles. They were found here at Novavoxis, probably lost by some Terran Mandate soldier during the raid. They were originally made for identifying metadimensional flow. And these particular ones, I am working on them. They're currently broken, but these current ones are configured in such a way that perhaps they could look at the metadimensional flow and energy and signature of a true AI.
Cool.
Yes.
Both of them die for the goggle.
I would like to share them with you when I have them up and working, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay. Well, here are the documents. No, this is a very dangerous mission that you're going on. I want to make sure that you and your friends as well stay safe. I would very much like to have that conversation we were alluding to last night at some point in the near future, and that's very difficult to do if you're not around.
I would like to remain alive as well. I'll do my best.
All right. If you need anything, you know you can call me. And I will be in touch. I will probably join you all to talk to the Firefangs. Yes, just stay safe. And he at that he goes back to working on the goggles.
Nona thinks that was a completely normal conversation.
He was hitting on you.
She's like, nailed it.
He's into you so
Got it.
bad.
Got it.
He still doesn't know. Nailed it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that she knows that he knows because Claire knows that he knows, kind of thing.
Mhm.
But
You're not going to say, thanks for the papers. You know too much. You must die.
no, because I think that's part of the thing is Nona's a little bit decided. She's trying to be a good person.
Hey,
Yeah.
character development.
Character development. Just a little bit. If he does anything,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna murder him. But I don't necessarily know if preemptive murdering is necessarily a part of it.
Understood.
Because of like part of the judgment and stuff, but also like some of the stuff I wanted to do is like, yes, documents all well and good. I want to plug into the thing.
Mhm.
I want to actually see. I've put this power glove together. I've yet to use it. I would very much just like to plug into
Yeah, I'm following.
Novavoxis itself and like get a sense of the systems.
Oh, so you want to do this in Novavoxis?
In Novavoxis,
Okay,
correct.
yeah. You would probably then be directed by Aleta, and Dr. Lucius Leggett would probably take you in that case.
Yeah.
So he says, "Oh, yes, we can certainly do that. Let me move move the table out in front of the doorway again, blocking the very important fire exit, and you take that winding pathway down. It is quite deep
Yeah.
into the depths, and again, you see this very similar chamber to what you saw in Glazov 5 with all of these wires, and just in the center of this large cylindrical scaffolding with this crystalline structure shattered within it. And right next to this scaffolding is another one of those consoles, something very similar to what you saw and helped Aleta with up in the heights of the factory when you were unclogging that piston. And he says, "Do you mind if I could watch you work?"
Sure.
It's like Ghost, but programming.
Yeah. And so he points it out to you, and you take off your power glove and.
No. The power glove is on my
that's
hand
right.
so
You
that I
take
can
out-
pull out the USB
You take
thing
out the USB
from
thing
my
from the power
skin
glove. Yeah.
without anybody seeing that it's coming out of my skin.
Power glove stays on during hacking.
And
100%.
No
just-
glove, no love.
He watches this with just stunned silence.
Yeah.
And when you plug in, you feel like there's just an extension of yourself that is so much larger than yourself. You feel and you see everything happening in Novavoxis.
Cool.
You can feel people working on these various consoles, doing things with pistons. You can see the different, tracks that different materials go on. You can feel the drilling happening beneath you. It's almost as if you disassociate from your singular self to something that is so multiplicative. It is something that, like, when it comes to sensing, it's almost overwhelming. Like, you've never had to deal with this before. You've only ever had eyes and like smell and all these, the standard senses, but now you are getting all of these different inputs, and you can feel yourself needing to almost split your consciousness.
Yeah, can
to
I use split
all these-
focus?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
And so you're using this split focus.
And I'm not trying to mess with anything.
No,
This
you're
is
just-
solidly the equivalent of wandering around a museum with your hands behind your back, just looking at stuff.
Yep. And so it feels like another appendage, like something that you could move with ease. And you maybe even see like oh, they're struggling here, and maybe just do a little dink in the right direction, and they're like, oh, that worked, yeah. And it's just, you see it all as this working massive machine, and it's something inherently true to you, and there's also some beauty in it and how it's constructed, and that all happens within seconds of plugging in. It is, I can't obviously speak for Nona, but it is at the very least an exhilarating feeling.
Yeah, no, I think that would be like honestly
extension,
life-changing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, cool.
And so
we're gonna take a moment, a few seconds, if you will, just to sort of like absorb that kind of feeling. I would also like to look for the specific system that I'm looking for, the door system, but also assuming somebody else was plugged in here where I am right now, where would be the place to kind of like the sort of the earliest spot I could access from?
So I'm not entirely sure I get the question. You were able to find like the door system just fine. You were able to find like different like things like the fire suppression system, so you can make, like that stuff go off. You can close off whole sections of the entire facility to maybe like contain fires. Like you have almost complete control of anything that is automated within Novavoxus at your fingertips. Now, this is a very new feeling for you, so I'm not entirely sure you would know if there was someone else. Like it would be like you asking me, how do I tell if someone else is controlling my hand?
Sure.
It's not necessarily like you can sense that presence. It would be you change a thing and then someone else does it. Like, and you feel this to some extent with everyone interacting with the different consoles.
Yeah.
It's a little bit overwhelming because you're like, I can control all of these things. And it's like having spasms all over your body doing these different things that you're not specifically controlling. So you notice the spasms themselves, but you don't necessarily notice what's causing them, if that makes sense.
Sure.
But you can see through like the different monitors and the different cameras who could theoretically be working with them.
Cool.
So, yeah.
I think that's a cool experience.
There's your life-changing experience, Nona.
That's all the things. Yeah, you know what? I think I've slightly changed my mind. Having hung out with this dude for a while now, I think we're gonna have this conversation.
Like right now?
Yeah.
Okay. And he just sits in silence and says,
I'm going to turn to him and say, "Are you a good person, Dr. Leggett?"
You asked this of Aleta before, and I think I am. It's really hard to just put any sense of morality is a very relative thing for different people, you see, and good isn't necessarily a written in stone. Yes, I think, but that's not to say I don't have my faults.
How good are you at keeping secrets?
I know I have a bit of a mouth, but when someone confides in me something that is important, I do right by them and keep that information between us.
We know that you know.
I'm sorry?
We know that you know.
I apologize. I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to, so perhaps some additional context is necessary for me. Know that I know what?
What I am.
That you're a
Say it out loud.
True AI. You are a true artificial intelligence.
That is correct.
I don't know what to say.
Nothing would be good. Please.
Yes, that I think that goes without saying.
Yes, that is the point.
Where? No, where? Who created you? Where?
I need to process this
I-
next episode.
He's having a moment.
Everything goes black.
You have to understand, this man has lived his entire life trying to build something, and that thing is literally standing in front of him
And
right
about to
now.
go get in a war.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of a retroactive question right here. So knowing everything that we already knew, we talked with Claire. Did we just let Nona go over to be
That
with
was
him
like my
herself?
question. I did.
I like
Well, she is now.
all right.
I did
bizarre.
telegraph my plans.
You did.
Very, very.
You did.
What probably happened was she just said, I'll go to Aleta and get this information. You guys were like, yeah, I think she can handle that by herself.
Oh my god.
I understand you have places to be, but Nona, where? There's so many questions I want to ask. Where did you come from?
Asimov 1. It was orbiting around Cass, I believe.
It was actually a deep space station. It wasn't orbiting around anything.
My bad.
Just in the middle. But it was in the vicinity of Cass, yeah.
But as for the rest of it, I'm not really sure. That's part of my goals. Trying to figure that out.
Are you two looking then for Dr. Samantha Calvin?
Yes.
I see. Nona, I understand that to you it is being, and I apologize if I add any additional stress to that. It's just you have to understand, my entire life's work has been in robotics. I learned of Dr. Samantha Calvin and some of her writings, Dr. Kyle Reed, as well as the torque mechanic Dricht. I've learned so much from them that who you are is what I've been working for my entire life, and I'm still so far away from it, and yet here you are, standing in front of me as if nothing. It's remarkable. It's absolutely remarkable. You are remarkable. I would very much like to discuss with you more about whatever you know, and I would just like to talk to you and your experiences at some point in the near future, ideally after this whole mess. And I would like you to go on this journey with me to find out if there might be a brother or sister of yours on this planet.
Yes, I would like that.
I would as well.
Again, I will reiterate the utmost importance because,
Yes.
and I gesture around us to where the corpse of one of my siblings lies and says, there are many who do not feel the way that you do.
Yes.
And would very much prefer me to be in this state. Many, many people.
I will keep this to myself, and I will take it to my grave if need be. I want you to tell me that you understand when I say, I don't think you should let Aleta know what you are, and I think you should refrain, for as much as possible, utilizing your abilities to run these factories.
This is a good idea.
I can't speak for what exactly she would do, but she's a pragmatist and she cares deeply about her people. And while she mentioned that she would like you to be her people, I'm afraid she might consider the needs of the many to outweigh the needs of the few.
And we're just getting all the references today. Snaps,
the
everyone.
needs
No,
of the
I
you.
need you to I need you to understand this. I don't believe Aleta can be trusted with this information. And I don't believe anyone close to Aleta can be trusted with this information.
That I sort of like cock my head at him.
I understand this. I did not grow up on Novavoxus. I came from the Aglani system, Aeon. I have much different priorities than Novavoxus and making sure that it can run tip-top shape. I came here because a colleague of mine, a Dr. Deacon Adams, told me that there could be opportunities to find true AI on Phistos. I want you to understand that my intentions do not align with Aleta's. Nona, I thank you for trusting me in giving me this information. You've changed my life in this one day. And thank you so much for it.
You're welcome. And then she just turns and goes to leave.
And he's just left there in just practically in a catatonic state. All right.
Well, that's enough for me.
Earth-shattering revelations all around. One for everybody.
And you come back with all these documents. People are hanging out like, oh, hey, Nona, where have you been?
I have gathered the required information.
Awesome. Are we good to then, meet up with Aleta and the rest of people to, do the thing?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do the thing.
Let's do the thing.
Let's do the thing.
So you meet up. And
Also, can we just sort of assume that we ask, like, hey, if your guns are better than our guns, can we borrow some?
yeah.
Or do we want to?
We can have that conversation, I think, with Pycleides and everything else.
Sure.
because
That sounds good.
Pycleides might have
Is the
more-
one with the guns?
is the one with the better
Makes sense to
weaponry
me.
than probably Novavoxus. So you all board a quite large spaceship. It's not a starship, so it's not something that can travel in between. It doesn't have a spike drive or anything like that. Probably closer to like a shuttle than what you guys have. Definitely for like shorter trips.
Mm-hmm.
But you do a little flight. The people that are with you are primarily it's the group that was gathered together in the morning. So it's Red, Volker, it is Aleta, it is Dr. Lucius Leggett, who is, Alex, you notice, less nervous, and there's just kind of a serenity that is happening within him that you have never seen from this man before in your life. He's having a morning. You can tell, you're not entirely sure why, but he's having a morning. And there's one other person that actually meets up with you guys. It is a navy blue torque with turquoise flecks. Wrapped around their waist is a heavy metal band. Protruding from this band, from their back, are 4 articulated arms with robotic hands at the end. The top of their head has also been replaced by some chrome metal, along with their eyes, which can now extend and retract from their face.
Oh, I love that. Here, let me look at this.
Exactly.
I love that.
That is exactly
I love
it.
that.
Well,
That's
I
some
sure wish
very
we had
good
more
stuff.
opportunities to interact with this.
Yeah. Who could this be? Must not be important.
Wow, he must be a lot of fun.
Aleta says, "Oh, I'm
You've
not
been
entirely
busy.
sure. I'm not entirely sure if you all have met, but this is Quark.
Oh,
He's
my-
been busy, Jeff.
I was in my lab, needed a lot of hands, but I got them. You see, they're on my back. Anyway."
Does
got
not
it.
need any
He's not,
more
that, he's
hands.
not that fun. It's just Gilbert Gottfried.
Bitter.
And so you guys take off with this group in tow, and you, as you fly over, a lot of Phistos is just absolutely, it's not it's uninhabited, right? By people at the very least. It's not, industrialized or anything like that. There's not a ton of roads. As soon as you fly away from Nova Voxis, you see that thick forest that was around the lake. Some parts of it, you see the Phistos waste kind of like creep into areas. It's not a hard line in between the two. And as you slowly approach, you see that the area starts to get a little bit more and more mountainous and a little less foliage. It's a little bit more like an open plains, almost like a plateau in some respects. And over the horizon, you see another one of these massive structures that is sit atop of this quite large cliff. There is in front of it a bunch of rectangular barracks and neat columns and rows, and several large domed hangars. And a bunch of fortifications like sandbags and stuff like that facing this structure in the distance, which is very clearly Wickliffe. And you land on one of the landing pads, and as you land, you see just a bunch of Ursum running around. A lot of different panda Ursum, because that's what the Firefangs are, partially at the very least. And you see one of them comes up to you and says, Vicleides is over in the headquarters, if you follow me. And you are all escorted to one of these larger domed hangars. And as you step inside, there is, one of those battle maps where everything's laid out. There's like these little pawns that are placed on the map here and there, and you see a couple of Ursum standing over top of this. You see Pycleides, obviously. You see Celine is large, like she's a large Ursum. She's quite strong, but Pycleides stands like a foot above her. Just a reminder, he's big. He's a massive boy. You see another Ursum who is facing you guys from across the table. An Ursum man with similar fur patterning to Pycleides and Rodana, white-furred with black patches on the eyes, ears, and arms. His power armor has clearly been well used, as there's very little of its surface that isn't marred by some deep cuts or scratch. Some gaps in the armor are so deep, you could swear you can see skin and fur poke out from in between them. And then additionally, there's one other Ursum in this room. She is off to the side in a chair, just away from the war talk in the war room. It's a smaller Ursum woman with soft auburn fur. Using the fur/hair on the back of her head, she's braided a ponytail that gracefully sits over the front of her shoulder. Something in her eyes reveals a gentle kindness that you weren't aware an Ursum was even capable of, but also a quite deep sadness. At your approach, they all perk up and look at you guys, and Aleta says, all right, it's time to discuss the attack on Wickliffe.
Roll initiative.
Roll initiative. Next time. Because we're going to have this conversation next time, because
Okay.
Why?
That's how, because we hit the timer.
You can't
we hit the
silence me,
timer,
Jeff.
Philip.
Hi.
You're looking at the real timer.
No. It finished 5 minutes ago. I only set it for an hour 25.
You can't silence me. Hi, my name is Alex. I'm a sad German man, and I have a message for the anime mom in the corner.
That is exactly what she is.
Yes!
The one with the death flag ponytail. How are you? How are you doing right now? I should say.